key multiple players, including Caitlin Clark. Yeah, it's pretty outstanding performance. 34 points. 34 points. One player on this court looked like an MVP in the league. Look, I got to give the Fever credit. The Aces tried to make a run in the third quarter, and they went on the 11-0 run. If three people on this team could have at least show up and have a damn good showing, they would have a chance at winning.
Caitlin Clark, a rookie on the biggest stage, just went toe-to-toe with Aya Wilson and the reigning champs. But here's the twist. Nobody expected what happened next. Was this the night Clark officially became the face of the league? Or did the Aces underestimate the Fever so badly they paid the ultimate price?
89-73, they went into Las Vegas and whipped the dog shit out of Las Vegas.
She dictates the flow of the game. She dictates the pace for the Fever, and she's stepped into a leadership role, and it's so efficient, but at the same time, like, she's not taking wild shots. She's playing within her game.
Stick around, because this game wasn't just a win. It felt like a shift in the entire WNBA landscape. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
34 points. 34 points. One player on this court looked like an MVP in the league, and it did not look like A'ja Wilson. No run to end it. 28 points in the third, and that's where they won this game.
Just sitting down, taking care of the ball, hitting big shots when she needs to. There was a couple big threes.
Think about this for a second. Caitlin Clark walks into the arena as a rookie going up against the two-time defending champions, the Las Vegas Aces. She's surrounded by banners, trophies, and one of the loudest home crowds in the league. On top of that, she's matched against Aya Wilson, the MVP who's been dominating everyone.
But if you hold A'ja to 20 or below, I guarantee the Fever will win every single game where she has 20 points. And when it comes to the Aces, you just have to make sure that you're not letting A'ja go for 40 every single game.
Most players in that situation would shrink, at least for a little while. But Clark? She didn't even blink. It almost looked like she had been waiting for this exact moment since the day she got drafted. The question was simple. Was she going to play scared, passing the ball off and fading into the background, or was she about to set the tone for an entire series?
She stays laser focused. She's also been doing really well on defense, guarding the guards. Now, I will say the Aces defense is scary around the rim because you have somebody like A'ja who averages over 2 blocks a game.
From the jump, it was obvious the second option was happening. The odds were stacked against the Fever before the ball was even tipped. This was a team that had been counted out all season long, and now they were going into a playoff matchup against giants. The Aces weren't just good, they were experienced, drilled, and used to crushing opponents. And let's not forget, Wilson has this ability to turn the entire paint into her personal territory. Every drive feels like it hits a wall when she's waiting under the rim. Add on the fact that the crowd was ready to heckle every Fever misstep, and it wasn't hard to imagine a blowout. But right away, Clark's body language said something completely different. She wasn't hesitating. She wasn't nervous. She walked onto the floor like she belonged, and that energy became contagious. In the first few possessions, you could see the difference.
Caitlin Clark, she has such a level head and she's not easily rattled. She keeps her composure. She plays good defense. She works within her strengths. She has this little running floater that she does. Her court vision opened up. She was hitting the wide open cutters. She takes care of the ball.
Instead of deferring to her veterans, instead of trying to ease into the pace of the game, Clark pulled up for shots that most rookies would never try in that setting. One of her first jumpers came right with Wilson closing hard in her face. That's the kind of shot that either changes the tone of the game or sends you back to the bench looking rattled. Clark hit it clean, right in stride, and from that moment, the entire arena felt it. The fans were still loud, but now there was a little hesitation in their voices. They weren't seeing a rookie panic. They were seeing a rookie go hunting. Meanwhile, the Aces were leaning on their veterans, running their normal sets, and trying to assert the physical dominance that usually wears opponents down. This wasn't their first semi-final, and they know how to slow games down until mistakes pile up. But when you looked at Clark, there was no flinch. The difference was that Clark's untested youth didn't play like weakness, it created unpredictability. She wasn't following the script. Every time the Fever spread the floor, Wilson had to chase space she usually didn't have to cover. Clark moved like she already knew where the gaps would open up, and her teammates were reading it too.
But specifically defense, they just couldn't find an answer for Kelsey. They were sending two on her at different times, but the Aces couldn't stop her. I actually don't think that the Aces perimeter, honestly, defense or offense, is very good.
Suddenly you saw players like Aaliyah Boston cutting with more confidence, shooters staying ready on the wings, and the whole Fever team starting to believe they weren't just surviving against Vegas, they were matching them. One sequence in particular stood out. Clark drove hard toward the free throw line. Wilson stepped out expecting a pull-up, but instead Clark kicked the ball to the corner where Kelsey Mitchell buried a three. That's not just a single bucket, that's Wilson being forced into decision-making she doesn't usually face so early in a game.
She was the highest plus-minus on the court with a plus 24. I mean, she was just finding her spots, getting to her lanes, hitting those open threes, all of the things. As somebody, we've talked about it a million times, she just makes a difference when she's on the court, and she did that once again for the Fevers.
Clark wasn't just scoring, she was dictating who had to guard what, shifting the floor with her movement. She forced the Aces to react, and that flipped the usual roles. By the end of the first quarter, everything felt different from what people expected. Most thought the Fever would be hanging on by a thread, exhausted, and already staring up at a double-digit hole. Instead, Clark had the ball in her hands, running the offense, calling for screens, and playing like the most composed player on the court. Vegas wasn't ahead the way their fans assumed. They were the ones trying to steady themselves.
Making sure that Asia doesn't get easy looks, but also being cognizant of the fouls. Asia has a great whistle. The keys to this series are the Fever playing with pace, the Fever playing defense the way that they've been playing it. We all know this. She has a really great whistle, and Aaliyah Boston is somebody who is prone to getting in foul trouble.
That's what made the start so powerful. It wasn't just about whether she could score or not. It was about how she set the entire tone of the matchup. Clark wasn't reacting to the game. She was forcing it to bend toward her. She didn't look like a rookie in survival mode. She looked like the player shaping the narrative, taking authority over a team stacked with stars, and making her teammates believe in something bigger. And as locked in as she was, the real turning point, the one that changed everything, was still waiting in the next quarter. What we just saw wasn't only about the Fever pulling off a huge win. This felt like Caitlin Clark stepping into the spotlight as the next big name in the WNBA. She didn't play like the rookie people expected, she played like someone who's ready to carry a franchise. And if you think this is just a one-game moment, you might want to keep your eyes on the Fever's journey, because it's just getting started. The real question now is simple. Did we just watch the night the entire balance of power in the WNBA start to shift?